Good afternoon, everyone. I am back to talk to you about Module 6. I did do a Module 6 overview for you on Monday, but unfortunately, you cannot hear me. So we are trying one more time. Let me start with kudos for all of you. I am so impressed by the huge number of students who have taken the time to post their initial posts on time by Thursday night. I do understand, though, that we are human and things happen. If you have not yet posted your initial post, it is not too late, okay? Please, please, please know that if something comes up, if you have a human moment, that is okay. What we don't want to do is give up or take a 0 on an assignment when it's usually something that we can work through together. Also, I look forward to reading your posts when we have a discussion board. So please join our class and be a part of this conversation that we're having this week. So we normally look at our Module 6 introduction and our Module 6 guide. I'm not going to change anything there. We're going to go ahead and hop into the guide and quickly talk about peer review because this is what we should be doing today, tomorrow, and Sunday night, okay? So when you post on the discussion board, like I said, many of you have already posted, you're going to post your introduction from the first draft that you've written, and then you're going to answer a few questions in your initial post after that. And then in your response, you're going to ask one question of your peer, and then you're going to give a suggestion or idea. But I want to go over peer review because I think it's important for you to understand what I'm asking you to do here, okay? So it says feedback is not only valuable to one who receives it. Whenever you provide feedback on another person's writing, you use the same skills that help you revise your own writing. Thinking critically about another writer's idea and the choices made to convey those ideas in an effective way can help you examine your own writing to identify areas of improvement that can be revised to better meet the needs of the writing situation, including the needs of an audience. So you guys will be participating in peer review, and I want to go over these tips with you. Number 1, although it might feel anxiety-provoking to share your work with your classmates, remember everyone is going through the same process. This is a safe and nurturing space, and we're all friends here. So I want you to take this opportunity to try to let some of the anxiety go and just trust the process. Also, when you're giving feedback, let's be supportive. Let's be very specific. Let's give detail, okay? While I love praise, there's nothing better than getting a good job or that's awesome. I want to make sure that in addition to your praise, you're giving feedback that can help your classmate better zero in on meeting audience needs or discussing the core idea better, okay? So there's a good example here. Instead of just good job, it would be something like, I think you did a great job addressing your first audience, but I think your word choice will need to change significantly with a new audience. So in this second bit of feedback, you give the praise, you did a good job addressing the first audience, but you also give a suggestion for improvement, suggesting that maybe they might want to work on their word choice. Same with if you see something with organization. Maybe you see a place where the thesis could be a bit stronger, okay? These are all suggestions that are great and that will help your classmate. No one is to feel negatively about this feedback. Feedback is a good thing. Okay. When you provide feedback to your peers, you might find that you think of your own revisions, things that you can do to your own work. And I found that in my own life, professionally and as a student. There's been times where I've given feedback to someone else, and I thought to myself, boy, I checked out this person's thesis and found areas for improvement, but wow, I've got areas for improvements in my own thesis. Or maybe I commented on the organization of paragraph 2 on my classmate's paper, but now that I look at mine, my organization in paragraph 4 needs some work. So I want you to remember that feedback is an opportunity for you to help your classmate, but also help yourself. Also, we want to make sure that we're keeping in mind audience and writing situation. The audience and writing situation form many of the choices writers make when expressing their ideas. When the audience and writing situation changes, writers need to think about the needs of the new audience and how those needs, as well as the characteristics of the new audience, change the way they communicate their ideas. These changes might include using different words, using a different tone when writing, or even writing in a style that the new audience might find more engaging or interesting. For example, a writer might choose to explain concepts in simpler terms if the new audience is less familiar than the first audience with the topic. Alternatively, they might choose to include more technical detail if they are now addressing an audience that has more prior knowledge on the same topic. The first step in adapting writing to a new audience is reviewing the aspects of the writing situation when a new audience is selected. And here are some key questions that you might want to use to make sure that you're keeping your audience and writing situation in mind. And then we have key concepts here. It just says revising your peers' work can help you revise your own work. That's something we already discussed. Reviews are most effective when they're supportive and specific. And when your audience changes, your writing situation changes. So please make sure that you're mindful of the fact that different audiences have different needs and different expectations. So if we go back into Module 6, your next step is going to be to communicate on our discussion board. And many of you have already posted. You want to make sure that as you look at your initial posts, that they include what's being asked here. First, you want to include the draft of the introduction. You want to state the intended audience for the first audience draft. You want to use your written response that you submitted in Module 2 to share the second audience that you chose for the second version of your paper. And then you want to explain how you plan to adapt your writing to meet the needs of the second audience. Once you've done all of these, you have a fantastic initial post. I also want you to keep in mind that you're responsible for responding to classmates on this discussion post. In your discussions, I want you to be mindful of the fact that you are reading these posts carefully and you're providing feedback to help your peers revise their work or have a better plan on how to adapt their writing for their second audience when they're completing the second part of their project. You want to make sure that you include one question and number 2, one suggestion or idea. For your question, there are some question starters to help you with that in case you need help asking your question. So you can think of starting off with things like, have you thought about? Have you considered? What do you think about? Is your second audience concerned with? How will your introduction change when? And if you notice, question starters D and E focus on the needs of that second audience, the needs and expectations of that second audience. And then the second thing here is to include one suggestion or one idea. If you have more than one suggestion, if you have more than one idea, that is perfectly fine. Remember, we want to be supportive and specific. And I think that this is a process that's going to benefit you and your classmates. So I urge you to jump in and enjoy it. So that is all I have for you this afternoon. I am so happy to be with you this Friday, and I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. I look forward to reading and responding to everyone's posts. And I hope you guys will come and join me on Monday for the Module 7 overview video. Have a great day.